Hey everybody, it's Miss Mac. First and foremost, shout out to Gianna for hooking me up with a phone stand. I'm really looking professional now. So tonight, I don't have a lot of time. I'm tired. I know it's late. You've got all weekend really to check out the videos, so I'm not stressing you. CPA again, planning day is Monday, and the CPA is next week, Tuesday. So make sure that you're ready for that CPA, guys. I want to see much better grades. We talked about grades today, and you know how much I love you guys, and I think that everybody is capable, and I really want you guys to show me your best next week, but also tomorrow for Socratic Seminar. Make sure that you are working on your quote books. There's no excuse. Monday's coming up. I've been seeing bits and pieces of some students' work, and it's really looking good to me. I'm excited to look at those and get those graded over the Christmas break. So work on those, guys. Remember, there is a YouTube video that explains everything you need to know. The rubric is on Google Classroom. Make sure you look at that rubric. Make sure that you're doing all the things that you need to do to get the best grade. Those will be graded as an assessment. So great working. Let's get it done. It's all good. We're headed towards the holiday, and we're feeling really good about getting ready for the holidays, right? We all need a rest, and we definitely need a break from each other. So let's talk about the CPA prep. I'm going to be looking at my computer screen as we talk about it. Let's take a look at the graphic organizer. I wonder if I can turn this so that you guys can actually see the graphic organizer as I talk about it. I don't know. That doesn't look so great to me, but I guess I can switch the phone. So I'm still here. I know this is looking weird, but let me see if I can switch the phone. Oh, you can't do that while you're recording. Okay, so we won't be doing that. All right, so let's get back. Let's talk about the CPA. So a couple of things about this organizer. In the top left-hand corner of the organizer, you see aha moment. And I threw that on there because I wanted you guys to remember what an aha moment is. And remember that an aha moment is that time when a character realizes something that changes them. They either change their path, they change their mind, they change how they feel. And generally, an aha moment is preceded by some kind of conflict or obstacle. So something happens, it's a conflict or an obstacle for the character, and because of that conflict, there is a realization or an aha moment. And because of that conflict, because of the aha moment and realization, that character makes a change. And we saw that over and over again as we read Isabel's story. Okay, one of her first aha moments happens in the very first chapter when she's thinking, wow, my master, Mary Finch, has just died. She was present when Mary Finch filled out the papers with the attorney that Isabel and her sister would be free. And so the conflict comes when Mary Finch's son, or I'm sorry, Mary Finch's nephew, Robert Finch, comes and says, no, boo, you are going to New York and you are going to be sold. And so Isabel has this aha moment born out of that conflict between she and Robert Finch, that in fact, she's still a slave and will be taken to New York along with Ruth and sold. So that is an aha moment for her. She has a realization that her life is in fact changing, but not changing in the way that she had originally thought. So those are the kinds of moments that you're going to be looking for as you go through this graphic organizer. So on the top right, why does my phone keep like going in and out like that? Okay, guys, you know I'm an amateur. I'm like trying my best, so bear with me. So right next to the aha moment graphic, it says name 3 conflicts that Isabel faced in chains. The conflicts can come from any chapter. State the chapter and page number where the conflict can be found. Really simple. Go back through the book, We just finished reading like chapters 37 to 45. So I'm sure you can come up with a conflict in those chapters, but you might want to look at some of the other conflicts that Isabel had. Can anybody think of them? So we know she had the initial conflict thinking she was going to be freed and she wasn't. Her next conflict, I think, comes when Curzon wants her to spy and she doesn't really know him and she doesn't really trust him. That's a conflict. Another conflict comes when she has this conflict with Madame Lockton once she finds out that Madame Lockton has sold Ruth. So that's another major conflict and turning point for Isabel. And then she has another conflict as she runs away, is captured, taken back to Madame Lockton, and ends up spending time in the dungeon and getting branded. Major conflict, major turning point for Isabel. We see that deep sadness that she feels, the anger, the angst, the depression, and she doesn't care about anything. So that's a huge turning point for her. And then she comes out of that depression. She moves into a space where she is angry. And remember, in chapter 31, I think it was, somewhere between 31 and 33, when she's just over all of it. She doesn't want to talk to Curzon. And remember at the end of one of those, I think it's chapter 31, when he comes to see her and she slams the gate and slams down the latch and says, "Go away, don't want to talk to you, not trying to hear it." So these are very pivotal moments. And if you need to stop the video and write some of these down, because you are going to have to find the exact page number and chapter where you find these conflicts. And then we have Isabel deciding that she is going to leave. She must leave at this point because now Madame Lockton's nosy girlfriend has told Madame Lockton that she saw Isabel talking to a rebel soldier. So now she knows that her time is up. She's either going to be beaten very badly, or Madame Lockton, as she said, is going to sell her to the worst slave owner. So again, we see this conflict arising. We see Isabel having an aha moment or realization that now is the time I must go. Very important, pivotal moment for Chains and for Isabel's story. And then ultimately her making that in the moment decision as she's packed food, she's put all of her clothes on her, she's layered all these clothes on, she's taken her most important possessions, the seeds that she has left that she took from Rhode Island. She also has common sense. She's taking common sense. And also she has a little piece of metal. Remember that she found after the rebels blew up the statue of the king. She has a little piece of metal from that. So these are her prized possessions. She's going to take these and she's going to flee. But as she approaches that spot where she turns to go to Bridewell Prison, another conflict arises in her, an internal conflict, and she has an aha moment that she must save Curzon. Because remember, Curzon is her only friend, and Curzon is the one that really cared for her and got her out of the dungeon after she had been beaten very badly and branded. So I just went through sort of the pivotal moments in the chapter. You can choose one of those or you can find your own, but make sure that you name the conflict. So you can say, Isabel versus Madame Lockton, or Isabel argues with Madame Lockton, or Isabel is in conflict with herself as she decides whether or not she's going to save Curzon. So things like that. You must put the chapter and the page number, because when you sit down to plan your CPA on Monday, you want to be able to go right back to these chapters and page numbers to decide what information you're going to be using for your CPA. So let's go on. We're coming down to, and I'm just looking at the graphic organizer. I hope that you had sense enough to take out the graphic organizer as we are talking. If you don't have it out, I suggest that you stop the video and pull it out of your book bag and look at it as we talk. So the next thing you're going to come to is these 3 boxes. And these 3 boxes, each of the boxes says the same thing. What aha moment did Isabel have in response to conflicts 1, 2, and 3? So up top you have, look at it's getting weird. Every time I move, I guess the focus shifts. So I got to be still, guys. Help me with it. So we see that on our lines above that, we have put 3 different conflicts that we found in 3 different chapters and chains, and the page numbers and the chapters are listed. So you're now going to go back to those conflicts, and in each of these boxes, you're going to name or describe the aha moment that Isabel has in relationship to one of the conflicts that you've chosen. For example, she has an inner conflict moment when she's escaping, that she comes to that corner where normally, instead of heading towards the tea water pump, she would do what? She would head to Curzon. So in that moment, she has a conflict. Do I keep it pushing, or do I head up to Bridewell and see if I can also get Curzon? Now, this is a problem because, remember, she only made one pass for herself. So how will I explain him? So all of these things are going through her mind. That is the conflict. What is the aha moment that Isabel has as she wrestles with or goes back and forth about, I don't have a lot of time. Madam Lockton's going to miss me very soon. Should I take a detour and go to the prison and rescue Curzon, knowing that I haven't really planned for him? Or should I keep on pushing it towards the water and the boat? Major conflict for her. What is the aha moment that she has? What is the realization that Isabel has in response to this internal conflict that she's having? So take a minute to think about that. I want you to name that conflict in your mind. Okay? And then I'll tell you the aha moment is she decides what? She decides that she must save Curzon. And Halls Anderson does a really good job in that chapter. And I think that's chapter 44 or chapter 45? She does a really good job showing Isabel going back and forth. If you could imagine an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other shoulder. The devil telling her, girl, you got to go, boo. You need to get out of here. Because Madam Lockton's going to come home from that ball. She's going to know you're not in that potato bin, and she's going to turn up. So the devil is telling her, girl, you got to go. The angel is telling her, listen, boo, this little boy is your best friend. He's your only friend. He looked out for you after you had been branded. And when you were in prison, this was the guy who had your back. So that's the conflict. And out of that conflict comes the realization or the aha moment that I must save Curzon. He is my friend. He is my only friend. It is because of him that I survived prison and being branded and was able to get out. So that is a great example that I just gave you. You can use that one if you like. It's fine. But you must have an aha moment for each of the conflicts that you've named. 1, 2, 3. So if your first conflict is the one that I just named, then you're going to tell me what is Isabel's aha moment. And I want that quote from the book that shows me that you recognize the aha moment or the realization that Isabel has in response to the conflict. Guys, make sure that you put page numbers in this box. You only need page numbers because this is evidence that you will ultimately go back to as you do your planning for your CPA. Now, how many people, just throw your hands up, even though I can't see you, throw your hands up. How many people sit down to plan for the CPA and spend almost all of the time looking for evidence? Of course you do. And very little time actually planning your essay. Well, now, what you're doing now, if you're smart, is you're completely filling out this graphic organizer with chapters, with page numbers, with very strong and relevant evidence, so that when you sit down to plan on Monday, you're good to go. So again, in these 3 boxes, you need to name the aha moment with the evidence or the quote. So if you want to give me the aha moment in your own words, that's fine. But right under that, I need to see the full quote and the page number. Okay, let's go back. You're starting by reviewing what an aha moment is. Then you're moving on to finding your 3 conflicts, and they have to be big. Okay? 3 major conflicts that Isabel faces throughout Chains. And it would be great if you talked about 3 different conflicts in 3 different chapters. That's what I want to see. Make sure you name the chapter and the page number. So when I glance over it quickly, I'll be able to tell where you found that quote or where you found that conflict, and I can go back and review and make sure. After you write your conflicts, you're then going to go down to these 3 boxes, and you need to name an aha moment, and you can do that in your own words, that Isabel has in response to the conflict. Make sure that you have a quote, a full quote from Chains that is evidence or proof of what you're naming the aha moment as. And make sure, ladies and gentlemen, team members and friends, that you have page numbers to go along with your quotes. Let's continue. So now at the bottom, it says, when you are doing your CSCRT at the end of any chapter, you use conflict and resolution to give you clues about theme. So we know what the conflict is. We know what the character's response to the conflict is. That's the resolution. And we use those 2 things to come up with theme. And then I gave you a little reminder about what theme is. Write a theme statement for each of your conflicts. So these 3 conflicts that we see at the very top of the page, you're writing a theme statement for each of those conflicts. And then I give you a little definition reminder for theme. Remember, theme is the underlying message or the big idea. In other words, what critical belief about life is Halls Anderson trying to convey in theme that can be applied to anyone's life? So when you look at the conflict that Isabel faced, when you look at her aha moment or the realization that she had, what is Halls Anderson trying to teach us through revealing Isabel's conflict, aha moment, realization, resolution? Okay, so the aha moment, or whatever Isabel realizes that changes her, that's the same thing as the resolution. So you're going to look at the conflict, you're going to look at the aha moment, what changed for Isabel, and come up with a theme statement that represents what you think Halls Anderson is trying to convey. Oop, that's my computer making noises. Trying to convey through, okay, I'm going to turn this sound off because nobody wants to hear all that when my computer is making them crazy noises. All right, so we're done with that. Great and great. Okay, all kinds of stuff is popping up. All right. So again, and look, I went blurry for a minute. It's not the Twilight Zone, guys. I'm still here. Like every time I shift, the camera does something weird. So you're going to write a theme statement for each of your conflicts and aha moments. Okay? And that's it. Okay? If you go through this very thoughtfully and you make sure that you understand these conflicts, the major conflicts that Isabel faced, and there's probably like 5 or 6 of them. You're going to choose 3. And you understand her response to the conflict or her aha moment in relationship to that conflict. What was the conflict? What did Isabel learn by going through that conflict? What changed for her? And then you're going to write a theme statement that tells me what Halls Anderson wants us to learn. What's she trying to teach us through showing us these conflicts or through telling Isabel's story? And my loves, if you do that, you will be ready to impress me on that CPA. Okay? Now I'm going to turn my phone off because it's about to ring because I have clothes in the laundry. I have to go down and check on my clothes. Guys, that's the end of this video for tonight. Take a look at your CPA organizer. Get that together. Get yourselves ready for Socratic Seminar tomorrow. I want to see great things for Socratic Seminar tomorrow. Work on all of the things that you're missing. We had a very serious come to Jesus moment today around grades, around effort, around quality of work. Please soak all of that in and bring your best game to the Socratic Seminar tomorrow. Bring your best game to your quote book as you work on it over the weekend and prepare it for me on Monday. My loves, don't wait till the last minute. It's a very simple project, but it's a project that you want to work on over time. I saw a couple of people's today. I saw a few yesterday. People have begun working. Excuse me. And that's a good thing. And finally, be ready for your CPA and any missing work. All right, I got to go get my cup of knowledge. Deuces. I'm out.